One. What is going on, guys? Hutcher322 here, and we are going to be getting into a little bit of Week 3 power rankings. So, I have my co-host
Hello.
as Malone, if you did not know, from the past 6 or 7 or whatever videos. And, ASL coaches and fans, we have your Week 3 power rankings, and we are going to get right into this. It's late, so if Malone's voice is a little bit quiet, that's why he has to be little bit quieter. So let's just hop right into this. So 14 through 11, we completely agree except for number 11. I put myself at 11, and Malone put the Arcaniders at 11. So let's just start with number 14. Malone, why did you put Gustavo and the Las Vegas Gardevoir at number 14?
So this week was we lost to him against the Kansas Emperors, and they were coming off a loss. And they were 1-1, but they were able to pick up a win. And I don't know. I think that he has potential to beat Rock, and he just wasn't able to come out. Or I guess that was Shaq. So yeah,
Yeah, so he just wasn't able to come out with the dub. So
it
I
was a close match.
Yes, it definitely was a close match. It was a 1-0. I'm just gonna talk quietly so that it's gonna be like proportionally quiet. So, it was a close match. It could have gone either way. Tapu Koko definitely put in the work at the very end. I do think that Gustavo can rebound. I say this all the time. Everyone has a chance to rebound. This week was just not Gustavo's week, and until he can really get back into the flow of things, I'm gonna have to unfortunately keep him down in this bottom four. So moving on to the next one, we have the Amsterdam Alakazams, coached by Commander Milan. Unfortunately, taking the first 6-0 of the season, and there really wasn't much he could do. Vish just capitalized on the opportunity to set up a Zygarde with weakness policy and then Thousand Arrows his entire team. There wasn't much Milan could do about it, and it sucks to see 6-0s because when competition is very high, it just sucks to see him. But nonetheless, I had to put him down there. He got 6-0, plus he has yet to pick up a win this season. But he definitely has a good team, so you can see him bouncing back. Well,
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's just really hard to stop this now that he's on a 3-game streak without win. It's just hard to stop a person who's a great battler with a great team and a great streak. It's just can't do anything about it.
yeah, which is why we didn't put him in 14, because he's definitely showed sparks of glory. And next up at the number 12 spot, we both put the Las Vegas Ludicolo after coming off an 0-4 loss to the Stoic Sandslash. They are, of course, higher, but the spam really hasn't. Yeah, he's been getting like bad with luck, but he hasn't really shown dominance in a game as of late. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his one and only win was a really close match. It was a great play. Came down to the wire. Um, Definitely could have lost his 2, so he very well could be 0-3. I mean, he hasn't been playing terribly, but yeah, he just hasn't been able to take control of that.
Yeah, and the name of the game is showing offensive presence and forcing switches, which can put you in the driver's seat, which he really hasn't done as of late. But he's gonna definitely need to do that in the future. So number 11, we do have the conflict where I put myself at the 11th spot, and Malone put the Arcane Arcaniners at the 11th spot. And I put Malone. Would you like to talk why you put the Arcane Arcaniners at 11?
Okay, so I mean, both teams have played not terribly so far. I mean, almost all of their losses have been to good teams. And I'm kind of trying to talk about both right now. But I think when it comes down to it, you each have one win Hutch was a legitimate 3-0 win versus the Spam. Well, the Arcane Arcanites win was a 5-5 Sleep Claws win against the Flygons. And I feel like the Flygons kind of were having the edge of that match at that point in the game. But I mean, it still could have gone either way. I just think that Philly kind of proved it legitimately that they could get the win that he should be ranked higher than them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I put myself at 11 just because I made a lot of bad plays in that match against you, Malone, where you beat me 4-0, I believe. Um, and the Arcanines really didn't make bad plays against Keister. Although they might not have been in the driver's seat, they didn't make bad plays, and I made a continuous amount of bad plays, which ultimately led to my loss, which is why I put the Arcane Arcaniners over me, just because of how the teams played this week, in my opinion. So, moving on to 10, 9, 8, and 7. Here's the mixed match, as I said. And beyond that, we agree for this column. So, I again put the Arcaniners over the Arcanines over the Portland Timbers just because they made better plays in their matchup this week. And there isn't much more to say. That was really the definitive factor. So, you could. I'm pretty sure you said your reasons why you put the Arcaniners behind, but you can just tie a bow on that.
Yeah, again, like I don't disagree with the Arcane Arcanites have played terribly so far. And I really don't think you have besides that one game. But it just comes down to like who deserved it. And you definitely deserved that one win. And not saying that you didn't deserve it, but who knows who would have won that match if it's not coming to an end.
Yeah, if I would have just CC'd with Heracross, I might have been able to pull it back without Gator there, but it'd be interesting to see how it'd play out. Just Togekiss was free. So, number 9, we have the both have the Phoenix Flygons. I put them uh, higher than the Arcanines. Like, they had the same record, but honestly, I feel like Keister was in the driver's seat of that match, and just Sleep Clause was annoying because we have to do custom games just because of like Mega Beedrill and Megazards, stuff that aren't released yet. So he has a very powerful team and has only taken one legitimate loss that I would call legitimate. Week 1 and had a very good win over the Netherlandians. I feel like he definitely could have won the match, barring the sleep clause. So I had to put him at 9. I couldn't put him lower. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely played great match versus the Netherlandians. It was a close 1-0 match, but he definitely deserved the win. Um, I feel like his season opener against the Stoic Slash has not played the best. He's a pretty interesting team, but it's a good team. I think that it just could have been better week 1. But I mean, besides that, yeah, I agree with you about this college team that he definitely was in control of that match so far.
Alright, so I'm gonna give you the doubleheader and go ahead and talk about the Netherlandians at number 8, which we both agreed on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Netherlands, they have not played terribly so far. um, their first match, they beat the Arcane Arcanines in a pretty close match, 2-0. And then they lost to the Phoenix Flygons in another very close match. And then they lost to the Elm Street Parasects in a very close match. And one thing that I noticed very good battlers, and I think that it was kind of play well. But there are situations in which they could have won against Keister, and not they actually played pretty good against Anderson, but I mean they still could have done better in ways. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they should have played against Anderson better. I don't think they should have packed Megazam in the back that much. Like Megazam is meant to be a wall breaker, not usually pack in the back. Like it was a good set. It's just there was no way to touch the Weavile, which is poor prepping in my opinion, just because it's a Weavile. It's meant to take on the Zam. And the team is scary, which you've shown. You went 0-1 and now you're just chilling 2-1. Team composition is everything. Cause you just gotta find the right team to start a winning streak on, and then you're off to the races from there. So I couldn't put them lower than 8 because yeah, they did win with a powerful win week 1, and yeah, they've lost, but they've lost very close matches. So that was my reasoning for putting them at those points. So number 7, we have the Kanto Embers. Again, we both agree, and I put the Kanto Embers at number 7. I originally had them at 11. I had to move them up because they're above 500. I didn't want to put them in playoffs because it was only a 1-0 against a now 0-3 team. It's nothing against Gustavo. It's just statistics, to be honest. And yeah, their team is good. They just really haven't utilized it well. Like Entei, Garchomp, I have not seen them shine yet. And those two are offensive monsters. And Rocker and Shadow definitely need to make their threats happen. Like Coco is chilling. Mega Arrow is doing his thing. But they just need to get Garchomp and Entei in there. That's all.
yeah. I mean, I agree. They have some really good cores, and I think that they do need to start using them a little bit better. Um, they played a good match against me. I mean, I wouldn't say it was great because I just kind of threw it away, but definitely deserving of the win. They're becoming a little bit of hacks, but I mean, besides that, they were coming up with a win streak against a team that also had a win streak in Vish and the Wonders Levi's. And at this point, Vish was kind of starting his streak and his you know, upcoming, and they just kind of got blown back. I don't think they were expecting such a powerful game.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, they were able to come back against Gustavo, but like you said, the statistics prove that is not the thing.
Yeah. So let's move on to the potential playoff spots. In our opinion, this is who we think, as of right now, who should go to the playoffs. So we agree for the most part. We agree on 6-3, not on 5-4, but number 6 uh, is we believe should be the Inner Milotic. Malone, why do you think the Inner Milotic should be the number 6 spot?
Well, I mean, they have a good team, and they really bounced back well after playing in week 1. I mean, this was our week 1 opponent. As he just has a great team, and I think that kind of like I can't even
Do, do, do,
whatever. But yeah, it's kind of like we're scared coming up to the match, and I can't think of the word.
Nervous?
Deflated. Yeah, it's just like deflated. That's it. But they were able to get a relatively easier way to start a comeback. And again, no offense, Gustavo, but just statistics. And then from that win, they were able to launch a hopeful streak, winning against a good team in the Meet Your Man time in a nice 4-0 victory. And I just think that this bouncing back could lead to a potential streak in upcoming.
Yeah, that basically nails my point right on the head. This starts a very, very big swing around for Static since he did beat the Meet Your Mantine, which is a very posable threat in this league. So that's a very big win, and I believe it was a 4-0, so a very powerful win against a very powerful team. Just it looks like the works of Static's playoff run. Uh, his team can definitely do it. His team is very, very good, very, very well built, phenomenally drafted, and he's looking to make a playoff run, and I definitely think he could do it. All right, next up, 5 and 4 is where we conflict. So I have Meet Your Mantine at 5. You have yourself at 5. I have you at 4. You have Meet Your Mantine at 4. So I put Meet Your Mantine at number 5 because they lost to Static, while I put Static in the playoff spot. There's also 4-0. So if you're in the top spots, you can't be in 4-0. It's got to be closer matches. I know they didn't have the favorable matchup. I realize that Clefable, uh, if Scizor can get a switch in, Clefable gets bodied. It's just reality. It's rock paper scissors, metaphorically. But I had to put them behind you just because, like I said, once you start to learn your team, you will do well. And you learned your team and you played well. So you got the dub this week. They didn't. That's why I put them over you. And you got to sweep with Gator. I know how much you love Gator. And your team is crazy good. Crazy good. And I will be surprised if you do not make playoffs. So that's my reasoning for both those picks.
I
You
mean,
up.
yeah, again, I definitely agree with the thing, but I mean, just the fact that Static can just come off a pretty big defeat and then a win, but the fact that you have won 2 games against pretty good teams, and then coming into a game where you're facing a team that is not in the playoff spot, and you're ranked like number 2, it's just the fact that you could probably win. Um, the reason that I still put myself lower is because I think they kind of found their groove earlier than me. If that makes any sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they're now thinking about it, it's really close, but they were able to pick up wins before me, and I think that they're just kind of holding their ground right now. It's top 2 team.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So number 3, we have the Elm Street Parasects, coached by Anderson, of course, and we both agree. Uh, I believe we had him at 4 last week. I know I
Yeah,
did. I'm pretty sure you did
I
too.
did.
Yeah. So I had to move him up, just for the reason he got the win over the New Zealandians, which if they win, they would have a current playoff spot in the standings. But Anderson crushed that dream and showed once again how good his team is and kept his momentum. He lost last week to Anara in the Stoic Sand Slash, but he regained his momentum, got the victory, and is looking to do well in week 4. And momentum's everything. Basketball players will tell you. Momentum is very big in this format because if you get high confidence off of a win streak, that's the spark of a playoff run. It really is. So, you thoughts?
I thought of a word, so I'm an idiot. But it also comes into a factor in this, um, in streaks just in general, like intimidation. That is huge. Like the bigger the streak, the kind of more intimidating you are against your opponent. You could say.
Uh-huh,
Um,
uh-huh.
Anderson played a great week 1 match against me. that was probably like one of the best matches played so far. I would say until the end, at least. He picked up a win against a top tier team week one. He unfortunately lost to Static.
Benaria.
Just I was about to say still Sandslash.
Yeah.
Week
Two.
two, and then this week coming in against top tier team. Also, they are both coming at the relatively same thing. They both were 1-1. They just lost. There's kind of even playing grounds, and I think that he definitely deserved the win and just kind of proved that he had done better and deserved the spot over these teams. And the reason that he's over, say, the other 2-1 teams is part of the fact that his loss was against a top tier opponent, whereas some of the other teams' losses were against lower tier teams. And I just think that he's had a tough first couple weeks so far, just schedule wise.
Yeah. Alright, so let's move on to the top two, which did not change from last week whatsoever in the slightest. Just simply because they're still top tier, and there's literally no dispute in that. We both have this Stoic Sandslash at number 2, and the Freight Train Winter's Weaviles at number 1, which can't be stopped so far. So, would you like to go first on number 2?
Okay, yeah, so again, I kind of mention it every week, and this is mentioned so often in draft league format in the power rankings. But again, just momentum comes in huge. They had won their first few matches, and all of them were against pretty tough opponents. I mean, this week, they played pretty well, got an easier victory, but I think this is contributing to their streak. I think the next week's match is gonna be fun against two teams with some pretty high streaks and pretty high in the standings. The winner there will probably be in a great position for the rest of the season, though. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And Stoic Sandslash just have a phenomenal team build-up. It's absolutely insane. Tapu Fini, Porygon is a crazy good core because Porygon's like weak to knockoff. Tapu Fini doesn't care. They don't want to be toxic. Well, Misty Terrain is chilling. Porygon doesn't want to take like a high jump kick. Well, guess what? Tapu Fini's a fairy type. That's just a nasty good core, and it's been proven that it's very, very hard to break down so far. And they're gonna play you next week, which is gonna be a very, very big test of their strength. Uh, if they take you down, I would probably say they remain top two. If not, it'll depend on the momentum shift on like the differential of the match and whatnot. It'll be a momentum shift, but they gotta stay top two. They beat. Who did they
I
beat
mean,
this
they have a pretty
week?
high differential, so even if they lose, they'd still probably be enough to
Yeah,
playoff contention.
yeah, it wouldn't drop that much. Yeah, they beat Spam. So, um, it wasn't as big of a win again statistically, like we said all video. I'm not trying to offend people. This is just literally IMO in my opinion, in Malone's opinion. So don't like hate comment us. I mean you can, but you're just wasting your time. So they gotta be number two because I can't put them above Vish. It's just not fair to Vish. He's played too well to be number two.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking
Like,
of, go on.
yeah. I mean, his differential is insane for 3 matches.
Yeah,
That's 5.3 kills a game.
yeah, it's his differential is
Or wait,
plus
no.
16.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it is.
But yeah, like, he's played just phenomenal.
16 divided by 3. Yeah, it's 5.3 bar. So,
Okay.
speaking of the Winter's Weaviles, we both have them at number one. shocking because they have 5-0 team, 5-0 team, and pulled off a phenomenal 6-0 sweep with Zygarde. And probably, I'll be honest, until they either lose or win only maybe 1-0, I think I have to put him at number one. Just because their differential is sky high, looking like Trump Towers. It's so tall, and they're not losing. Their team is insane. Until someone can prove to me that they can lose, I refuse to put them lower than one. So that's simply my reasoning for
I
putting
mean,
them.
yeah, his streak is just insanely high. The streak differential, wins, everything is just good. Um, he's definitely gonna have a little bit of a tougher schedule. Like, I'm not gonna say his schedule is terrible, or not terrible, but hard. But I mean, he hasn't played a team that was higher than six in the power rankings. And even though you're not higher than six, you're a really good battler, and he plays the
Thanks.
next one. And then after that, he plays Minaria. And then after that, he plays Newlandians, who are also really good. And I
Yeah,
think that if he's able to make it past week 5, then um, he's in the playoffs. Like, it's over.
yeah. He just has to get his differential high enough and his wins high enough. And I think Static said by like week 7, if his differential's high enough, we can literally clinch him. I'm not gonna run the math to statistically do that. If he clinched or not, I'll make people clinch like week 10 or something. But yeah, his odds of making the playoffs after going 3-0 with plus 16 differential is like 95% plus. It's extremely unlikely with the team that he has, the way he's been playing, the start that he has, that he will not make playoffs.
And I think that I haven't really mentioned this before, but his schedule is interestingly good because the kind of timing of his matches against like tough opponents are kind of spaced out based on like statistics again.
Mm-hmm.
But like plays like kind of just spaced out and give him time to regain strength if he even does lose. Like, I think he has a pretty good schedule, even though we all play the same team. If
Yeah,
you're up against top tier teams in a row, like definitely not gonna help.
yeah. To piggyback on that, like if you're playing a bunch of top tier teams a lot in a row and you lose to one of them, you might lose confidence. Then you lose to another and another and another, and then you start losing to lower tier opponents, and it's just a snowball effect. That's why, like we were saying earlier, momentum is huge, and if he can maintain it, he will make playoffs. I'm sure of that because to keep momentum, you gotta win. So I think that is all the time that we have for this week. I'm just gonna go rapid through this. Feel free to pause the video at any time if you want to just look over, examine the picks. Let us know if there is any picks that you would agree with or disagree with, and we are going to catch you guys next time. And Malone will catch you guys on Sunday for the top plays of Week 3, and we will see all of you guys next time. Goodbye, ASL coaches and fans. Bye.
Bye bye.